the Southland, 1 week at a time. Promoting the Southland, 1 week at a time. SCV chat starts now.
And good Monday evening, everybody. I hope y'all are having a great week. Before we get kicked off, because I will surely forget, the views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are not those of the SCV, its GEC, nor any division, brigades, camps, or other subsidiaries, strictly those of us who are expressing them. I don't know why I'm speaking to the third person about us, because I'm the only one on tonight. Harrison had some family stuff pop up. And will not be on, so y'all know what that means. That means I'm trying to drive a ship by myself. But again, a happy Monday and the last Monday of Confederate Heritage Month. And here in the great and sovereign state of Mississippi, it is Confederate Memorial Day. So very, very proud day to be a son of the South. And every day is, but especially today. It is being a state holiday and things of that nature. Some of us get to sit back and actually reflect on what that day means to us. I was sitting earlier today working on some stuff at the house, and began thinking about my great grandfather, Captain Nathan W. Slay, and what all he went through in across the years of the war. Y'all excuse me for a moment; I have to pull that out. Of course, he enlisted in 1861, was wounded in April 1862 at Shiloh, and was back in service in 1863, and of course in 1864, and then surrendered in May of 1865. So it's just it's time to sit back and reflect on all those sacrifices. But really quickly, good evening to Wes Franklin and Johnny Jenkins. Andrew and James and Al and David Pope. Hope you are having a great evening in the beautiful Eastern Tennessee. And Daniel and everybody else. Hello, Larry. Michael C. Hardy, good evening. I hope everybody hope y'all are having a good week up there in North Carolina. I know y'all just had y'all's division reunion. And of course, Keith representing the 5th Brigade. And Kyle, glad waiting on the storms. Yeah, I hope y'all are safe. And Jason and Lloyd, hope you're doing well up in the Commonwealth of Virginia. This past weekend, we had a great weekend at Beauvoir, the last home of Confederate President Jefferson Davis. As you can kind of see in the background behind me, that's the actual cemetery that's back there. And of course, encourage everybody to visit Beauvoir when you are able. We had our division Confederate Memorial Service. Was a very, very good day. We had Lieutenant Commander in Chief Tony Griffin, his wife, Miss Annette, as our guest, and he keynote spoke. It was a perfect weekend for it. My dad, I was thinking about him a second ago because there's a memorial service at the cemetery that he helped reclaim from the wilderness out in Raymond, Mississippi. They're having a memorial service out there for the Confederate dead that died in the Battle of Raymond. And the sign that the camp who's hosting it has it's a town tree sign, or if you remember those, headquarters used to sell them. But when the Chamber of Commerce's would allow you to put up the signs of different civic organizations, that was the one that they had, and it's actually put on the bottom in memory of past Commander Chuck Bond. So it's just been a thing. But my dad used to say that, no matter the weather, it can rain 5 minutes before service. It can rain 5 minutes after the last singing of Dixie. But during a memorial service, Confederate memorial service, it shall not rain. And thinking back to it, he was never wrong in my life. It rained 5 minutes up to it, and it rained, just as soon as we got done. But it during the service, it was always good weather. And that's what happened this weekend. The weather was, it rained that morning, but, it turned out to be a pretty afternoon. Raymond is a nice town. Good evening, Donald, from the Rankin Grace Camp 2278. But yeah, it was It was good, and of course, there are other divisions, other states that celebrate, the days and of either Confederate Memorial Day differently. I think like Louisiana's does it on June 3rd, President Davis's birthday, but it's April is traditionally what we have. I believe in the standing orders, and Larry, correct me if I'm wrong on that. It's April in the standing orders. A little bit of house cleaning to get some stuff covered really quickly. I got a message from the host of the this year's national reunion. I want to remind everybody that national reunion is coming up, and that if you would like to register for the events, especially the food events like the banquet, the luncheons, everything like that, they're requesting that you get your registrations in by June the 1st. June the 1st, so that they can give their head counts to the hotel. As somebody who's put on a division reunion in the past and putting on a division reunion this year, and got talked into putting on a division or a national reunion in a couple of years, I can express how important it is to get those in timely. So please, 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 if you're wanting to attend, whether it's one of the breakfasts, either the awards luncheon, heritage luncheon, the grand banquet, whatever it is, please, please, please get registered. Today, you can register on their website at 131scv.org. They also have a new merchandise page that has launched on there. In fact, I'm going to go ahead. Y'all excuse me for a moment. I'm going to jump off at least viewing the screen. Let me try and pull up. Here we go. Let's just see, because I have not had a chance to look at their merchandise yet. So let me check and see what they've got. So let me share this. All right, program that. So, of course, you can register online. Everything like that, especially the parade of flags for opening ceremonies. The credentials forms are on there. Ancestors form, program advertising, vendor application, events. Everything on there. Merchandise. So let's look and see what they got. Oh, so they have their challenge coins out there. Bottle opener, keychains, reunion medals. There's a sneak peek of the reunion medal. Beer glass of Hanks, the Jeff Davis rock glass, shot glass, National Reunion rock glass. Yeah, so it's some cool stuff, and they're adding more stuff on there. So this is looking like it's going to be a good reunion to get some swag. Especially love this. The First National on one side and the Betsy Ross on the other. Again, that website is 131scv.org. Get registered yesterday. Again, you can find everything on here from their different events, the parade of flags, how to do that, the debutante stuff, the memorial service, information on where it'll be held. So yeah, so that's very, very user friendly. Just get to look, especially. I'm going to close out of that really quickly because it's not proprietary, but I don't want to share it. But camps and camp officers, especially because it is an election year, you need to make sure that you have whoever is your delegate with those forms ready to present. So print it out, sign it, everything like that, and then get credentialed as soon as possible. Because we'll be voting on different things throughout the week, and we don't know what will come to a ballot and what will not. There could always be surprises, but do that. And I'll mention that again as the show goes on. Chuck McMichael says sorry that he had to be late, but he had some bush hogging to finish. Well, yeah, I'm glad you got that done, Kevin. Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. I've been registered since before last year's reunion. Yeah, that's definitely good. I'm looking forward to seeing you, Kevin. I haven't seen you since last year, and especially your great photography skills. Looking forward to that. So yeah, and Loy, I know from Arkansas, he can definitely attest. Get registered, especially for the meals, so they can get those turned in to the committee. So tonight, with Moose kind of being out and me not having anybody to bounce my ideas off of, I'll get to listen to me on a soapbox for a little bit. And if y'all remember that at the beginning of this season, at the end of last season, but the beginning of this season, we decided that we would take one episode a month out to talk about our faith, my faith and Moose's faith, and talk about it and express what we believe, at least on a religious standpoint, and that's what we're going to kind of do tonight, as well as some other things. What is the best day to go if you have never been to a national convention? Every day is the best day. It depends on what you want to be there for, Michael. If definitely Saturday is a good day to be there. This year being an election year for Lieutenant Commander in Chief and Commander in Chief, that's when those elections will happen. So Saturday, and we'll get on some more. We'll try to get Chris Hawkins on at some point in the next either May or June to kind of give us an update on where we are on the national reunion on this part of the programming. So definitely Saturday, but try to be there for every day, because the thing that is so great about our national reunions, and the reason why we call it a reunion, one, the veterans called their reunions, but it really is. It is like a family reunion for sure. And there's a lot of things that go down, from the beauty of the opening ceremonies to the oratory on Friday night to just anything and everything. I love hanging around the hotel lobby. Years ago, I used to hang out. I remember the Franklin National Reunion. Jason Boshears and I standing in the lobby of the hotel until 3 a.m. just talking about different things. And that's the thing about the National Reunion. It is like a giant family reunion. Friends who you haven't seen in a year, that you only see at national reunion, you get to see them and catch up. And it's also a great time to talk to compatriots from either as far out as California, or even in your own division you don't know, or the division next to you that you don't know, and talk about whatever is on y'all's mind. Talk about what they're doing and what works in their area that you may want to take back to your area. And again, making friends and memories that last a lifetime. So any day is good, but definitely Saturday for that's the business sessions. Saturday, and maybe Chuck can talk about it some more later on when we get the constitutional amendments out in the next issue of the Veteran when it comes out. We can potentially talk about that. But those are if there are any or changes to the standing rules. That'll be something that we vote on a different day, potentially, unless it goes to a ballot. So, so it's and also you have your Army meetings on Saturday as well. So I mean, any day is good to go, but every day is good to go. But it's definitely Saturday is some days. So anyway, it being Confederate History and Heritage Month, and again talking about our faith, I'm going to pull some stuff out of the Old Testament really quickly. I was originally going to talk about one thing, but I'm going to talk about another. We often talk about this portion of Scripture. It's Joshua chapter 4, and in the New King James Version, the Bible translation I use, it gives the titles of the different sections, and it's actually called Memorial Stones. Starting in chapter 4 and verse 1, and it came to pass that when the people had completely crossed over the Jordan, the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, "Take for yourselves 12 men of the people, one man from every tribe, and command them, saying, Take for yourselves 12 stones from here, out of the midst of the Jordan, and from the place where the priest's feet stood firm. You shall carry them over with you, and leave them in the place where you lodge tonight." Then Joshua called the 12 men whom he had appointed from the children of Israel, one man for every tribe. And Joshua said to them, "Cross over before the ark of the Lord your God into the midst of the Jordan, and each one of you take a stone upon his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, that this may be a sign among you. When your children ask in time to come, saying, What do these stones mean to you? Then you shall answer them that the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed over the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be for a memorial to their children, for Israel forever." And the children of Israel did so, just as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones from the midst of the Jordan. And as the Lord had spoken to Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and carried them over with them to the place where they lodged, they laid them down there. Then Joshua set up the 12 stones in the midst of the Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priests who bore the ark of the covenant stood, and they are there to this day. And the grass withers and the flowers fade, but the word of our Lord endures forever. Thanks be to God. This is an important, April is important to us, because as descendants of men who fought in that long war all those years ago, um, we remember our ancestors. We remember their sacrifice. We remember their courage, and especially those who did not make it home. So many of those who rest in places that names have been lost to time and are known only to God, the unnamed, or the unknown. Um, and we see in this portion of scripture that it is ordered that the Lord orders Joshua to go and to have one representative from each tribe to go and collect a stone, and for that to be a memorial, memorial stones to what happened there. Now we see so often in our towns and things of that nature, especially in the last 9 years, or well 11 years. Sorry, I did my math wrong. The stones are modern day memorial stones coming under attack, and these modern day stones are our local Confederate memorials. But when you compare the two parallels, you take the two and bring them together, you can see a lot of parallels with them. For example, um, God took His people, and performed a miracle, and wanted the miracle remembered for future generations to come, to show how God provided for them. And oftentimes, and even in debates and town halls, I've brought forward this story of Scripture, because the same thing happened in the South. Um, in the South, after the war, the South was in ruins. Between the destruction that happened from battles, as well as the economic destruction, as well as the federal war crimes that were created or happened against Southern people, which is a entire episode on its own. The South was ultimately destroyed. That's one thing that the movie Lincoln gets right. When they talk about Thaddeus Stevens, or they show Thaddeus Stevens and Lincoln in the cellars of the White House, talking about what Reconstruction would look like. The I think it's Tommy Lee Jones. Um, he's portraying Stevens, and he talks about how the South would be a conquered people, how he wanted them to be a conquered people, how he viewed the future of the South, that they would completely take everything that was the South before the war, and destroy it, and rebuild it in their ideals, or in their eyes, which get into what we believe, so we will destroy you one way or the other, coming through to pass. But something amazing happened. Despite the destruction of the war, despite the hard years of military occupation, of active Reconstruction, not to be confused with the passive Reconstruction we've had for the past 160 years, we see a miracle performed to this day, or a miracle that happened to the South. The South was able to rebuild. We were able, through the grace of God, and that's the only way I could see it, to remain our own culturally important people, and see our culture continue to flourish, and impact the rest of the world, whether it's through food, music, literature, um, innovation. No matter what it is, you can touch it and see it, and it's that's Americana. It is it comes from the South. And that's why, and also the fact that the miracle of us surviving is one reason for the stones, but also because we look in the book of Exodus. In the books of Exodus, Moses goes up to the Mount Sinai, and he receives the Ten Commandments. And those Ten Commandments, we remember those, but the fifth one, and I'm trying to pull it up really quickly so I can quote it correctly. um, Exodus 20, and starting in verse 12, or at verse 12. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God is giving you. And then the rest of them is just the simple commandments. But this one, honor your father and your mother. That there's a reason behind why he gives that your days be long upon the land which your Lord is giving you, and that's it. These monuments are there to honor. When we often talk about the sons and fathers and brothers, the men of the South, and those stones are to the men of the South, but also they're also to our four great grandmothers, or foremothers, because they're the ones who raise the funds for those monuments. You know, yes, they're dedicated to the memory, but often how many of those monuments have erected by the United Daughters of the Confederacy, um, or the Women's Relief Society, or whatever the organization was that created those monuments? That's there to honor both the men and the women who were the ones who raised the money, and the ones the money was raised for, essentially. Um, so it is proper and fitting that we keep those monuments. It is proper and fitting for us to do that. And going back on the women, because I had a went off my mind for a second, but my fifth great grandmother had 8 sons. Of those 8 sons, one was shot in the chest at Cold Harbor and is buried in Oakwood Cemetery, Virginia. She never went up to Richmond to see where he lay. Another son was a musician who was essentially a non-combatant, and when the army was actually in combat, was used as a stretcher bearer, and except in a couple of rare cases, in like Franklin, where the Tudors and the Shooters went in, but he was used to actually try to help save and preserve lives. Was crushed by a train during the war. Another son caught a mini ball to the face, lost the use of his eye. Another son after the war, because of what we could consider PTSD, he shot himself and killed himself. So uh, of her 8 sons, half of them were directly hurt by the war. Her husband's farm was ruined, but yet she helped. She kept on, and she helped raise money for the monument that is in Copiah County to this day. Yes, Charles, your cousins indeed. Um, so we have to think about that. It's honoring both our mothers and our fathers. Um, so it's important for us to do that, especially now more than ever. Because if we forget where we're from and who we're from, and everything like that, our entire history is lost. Um, there's other scripture that I could quote, that is important, um, about it, but ultimately, the motto of the Confederacy, Dio Vindici, God will vindicate. God will be our vindicator. At the end of the day, God will, just like he ordered those stones, we're doing those stones. We're following His commandments in that. We're also following His commandments and to love the Lord our God with all of our heart, all of our mind, and love our neighbors as ourselves. If we're following that, if we're doing that, then we will be blessed. So that's our keep the faith a little bit. The message I had originally prepared until Harrison told me a couple minutes ago he couldn't be on. We'll cover for next month. So, but yeah, so that's it. So like I said, we're just gonna kind of do it as an open forum from here on out. We'll say I went back and rewatched the Matt Walsh thing that we covered last week, and definitely encourage those that have not to see it, um, because it is very, very well done. It is, as far as fair history goes, it is very fair, to us. So definitely do that. I guess what we could talk about is some of the news that came out, of course, over the past week. With the South Carolina, I know that may have come out a little bit before last week, but South Carolina getting their monument protection bill. strengthened at an overwhelming majority. I hope that that trickles down through the rest of the South. I know that Mississippi, our legislative session ended, normal session ended um, on April 15th, and next year is an election year, so we're going to do that, try to get it strengthened again. I hope. Um, so yeah, that's good, but that is good, and especially if your legislature is already out of session, read the bill and see what you like about it. See what can be used in your own home state. You have it like again using Mississippi as an example. We have a year to start prepping. So we're gonna start looking at that for the next legislative year. Um, and of course the news about that it's not Southern, it ain't broke, and it ain't a law center. Um, Picking up who I'm talking about. I don't want names. I don't want them to come after me. But um, they're the news that came from them. Them actually going through and uh, trying to support the organizations that they have, targeted. Um, and supporting them. I think that was a very interesting. Yeah, James, you mentioned them, but yeah, that they're under indictment. I was reading upon some of it, and I don't hold you know the fact that they had on their website. I don't know if they still have it or not, but I have it downloaded. Their attack plan against Confederate monuments, their attack plans on essentially not just Confederate memorials, but I mean any symbol of the Confederacy, whether it's on a state seal, a county seal, a city seal, whether it is yeah, and Lloyd, I'll get back to that in a second. But whether it's a building name, a street name, whatever, the fact that they're pushing that out there and they put it out there so high and mighty, but yet here we look and we see that they were some of the ones involved in, having events like the Charlottesville stuff that that ended up the Robert E. Lee Monument there was taken and destroyed and. Everything, but I can't wait for the actual trial to happen to see what all they did, who all they gave money to. And of course they're doing it under the guise of, well, we're paying for informants. Well, if that's no, that's not a good reason to support hate. And ultimately my views and opinions, they did it so that they could be relevant. If they weren't out agitating and doing things of that nature, um, they would have had to close up shop years and years and years ago. Um, so yeah, yeah. So Lloyd talks about the Arkansas legislature passed y'all's Monument Protection Act in 2021. We had ours passed in Mississippi, I believe, in 2011, in an attempt to get ahead of all the stuff that happened, but it has not been amended since 2011. And when it was originally written, it was a good bill because nobody saw it happening. But since things have happened, there have been too many loopholes. And we're trying to close loopholes. And there was a podcast that came out earlier, I believe yesterday, where Forrest Dawes was on it, and he talks about how we in the SCV, want equal protection for all history, whether it's Native American, EMS, firefighters, all that, police. We want that out there because if everybody gets equal protection under the law, then our monuments stay where they are, and that's what we've been trying to push here in Mississippi. Um, yeah, amen, Charles. There's a huge difference between that too. Well, Michael, they already have started. At least as far as federal lands go. Michael Dempsey said, "Give them time, and they'll come for the ones on the battlefields too." Well, I mean, if you look at it, at least with federal lands, like the Gettysburg National Military Park, Vicksburg National Military Park, Antietam, Sharpsburg, whatever national military park you talk about, those are owned by the Department of the Interior or the federal government. And but look at Arlington. Arlington was a first of all, it's a monument over Confederate graves, but then also it was on federal land, so they've already come after those. And as far as desecration goes, the things that the National Park Service, again, my views and opinions, says about our Confederate ancestors, says about and how they distort the true history of what happened in the war between the states is desecration to those monuments as they are. So yeah, they've already started doing that. There's a video um, on YouTube a couple years ago. I can't remember which person put it up, but it was a battlefield walk given by a ranger at I believe Gettysburg, where they talk about. I believe this was after the George Floyd incident, where the guy goes through and he talks about the different Confederate monuments, but he gives the point of view of um, and again, this is from he works for the federal government, of just like where it says, fighting for our rights. Well, we know what those rights are, um, type deal. So, they already do that. So it's, yeah. Well, Victor, they never officially called us a hate group. They called us a neo Confederate group. But they never officially, gave us the label of hate group. Now they put some names out there of members, saying that they belong to other groups. But they never, to my knowledge, they never officially labeled us as one. So, yeah. All right. I'm trying to read all the comments as they're flooding in. Um, Hello, David. I'm praying that God will. Yeah, David said, I pray the God's will be done with that trial. If God will allow the HKs, Dr. McCain's, Linda Gramblins, all the great men and women who have gone before us to intercede and work on the hearts of the judge and jury, they will surely know right from wrong. Well, I mean, and I'm sure that they will see, what is right from wrong. Um, I'm sorry, David. It doesn't show it doesn't show comments under there. But yeah, well, Wes, I know I have tried, disputing the Wikipedia article, and that's why you can't use Wikipedia as a good source. Um, and that's and kind of going back to last week's episode and talk about the Matt Walsh thing. The neo Confederate, which I'm not neo because yeah. Anyway, um, the neo Confederate thing, I'm sure somebody in academia will start labeling Walsh as such. Um, but the fact that our arguments that we have made countless times on this program, that you have made at recruiting booths, that we have screamed to the world until we are blue in the face, has finally gone out there into a mainstream platform. It will do some good about changing perception, and as well as changing perception of us, and will help news articles about us. I wish he would do a in-depth interview or in-depth talk with the SCV. Maybe one day he will. Maybe one day he won't. But Victor said, I've tried for years to get the Gettysburg Park to correct my ancestors' unit plaque because it is inaccurate, and they took it under advisement, which is government for we're not doing anything about it, but leave us alone. Loy, I just call him communist. Um, yeah, the thing about Wikipedia, they're not going to try and we have to have some type of source behind it. Yeah, and but so many people, not in the SCV, do use Wikipedia, and we shouldn't trust it. But they look us up, and that's what they say. And that is right, Wes. You are right. And like I said, oh, hold on one moment. But yeah, that's sorry, I had a text message come in. But yeah, I mean, just what we all we can do is continue to present our side out there, to do the best that we can do, and like I said, as strike while the iron's hot with this documentary coming out. Um, so anyway, guys, what else y'all want to talk about this evening? I know, like, and I apologize. I kind of said it may be a little bit of a short episode, just because with Harrison not being here to bounce stuff off of, trying to change topics. We'll say this, that I am looking forward to the different reunions that are coming up. I'm enjoying seeing everything that the different pictures from memorial services. Definitely get those sent into Harrison so that he can cover them on chat, or not chat, on look around this week. So flood our inbox at scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com. But guys, unless something really does pop up in the next couple minutes, I'm going to go ahead and sign off and call it an early evening. Really quickly, while I'm waiting on anything to come into the chat, I do want to take the time to thank our sponsors. Of course, Dr. Chris Cummins, MD, in Oxford, Mississippi, modern medicine with Southern hospitality. Doc is past surgeon in chief of the SCV. And is a quality physician. And when we get up to Oxford for the 2028 National Reunion, hopefully in Oxford, we're still working on that. We If you get hurt, you can go see Doc. Also, remember 31st Regiment Engraving. Todd out in California has all these wonderful items that you can get for, including those Jeff Davis earrings, the SO Dawes as example bracelet with your ancestor on it, challenge coins. Y'all remember to give Todd a look at 31stregengraving.com. Beauregard's Taylor. Now, we'll say that something about Andrew and Beauregard's Taylor. Andrew put out there the other day that he is discontinuing his uniform items. He is shifting his focus in the business to the lapel pins, t-shirts, reproduction flags, stuff like that. So you have until May 1st to order any garments from him. So if you want to try to, especially if it's something that he has in stock, he's already made, go check out his website, beauregardstailor.shop, and see what he's got, because his time on that is running out. Maybe one day he'll go back into it. I kind of hope he does, because I'd like something from him. I may order a pair of socks because I think I can fit in those if he's got any. Also, the museum at Market Hall in Charleston, South Carolina. Remember that if the flag is out, they are open. Their normal hours are Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Remember, visit their website and visit their gift shop. They have a bunch of great things, um, t-shirts, books, lapel pins. Help them out. They're doing a fantastic job. They have a great collection. So if you're in the Charleston area, go and visit them. Remember to you can become a friend of their museum. You can also donate to support their page. Like and follow them on Facebook as well. All those QR codes are on the screen. And remember, they also have, in addition to their normal stuff, they are still having the Diversity in the Defense of the South um, display exhibit going on there in Charleston. And here's some of the things that they have on display: Confederate currency, swords, flags, artillery, the official giant portrait of Beauregard. Just go and give them a look. It's worth the drive and visit to them. Um, and of course, the Sam Davis Home and Museum. Um, Sam Davis, the boy hero of the Confederacy who was martyred. Um, Website is samdavishome.org, and they have so many things that you can do. It's located in Smyrna, Tennessee. So the next time you're up in the central Tennessee area, Derek, just about how far is the Boyhood Home from, or not David, the Sam Davis Home and Museum from headquarters? Put that in there. But go and discover the nature trail. The visit the 19th century smokehouse kitchen, and of course, the room that Sam's body was laid in state, and of course the museum, and tour the home, and also pay your respects to Sam himself. It's a beautiful story, and maybe one day we'll get Jason Boshears back on here to tell it again, closer to the anniversary. So yeah. So speaking of RS Jason Boshears, he's tuned in. Must have got off the phone. All right, so looking at this, our antagonists are disciples of Saul. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, well, see, Kenny, and you're right. Looked us up on Wikipedia, but we just got to keep up the fight. Yeah, Renee, I saw several out of Georgia. David Pope wants to remind everybody that Friday night we'll be doing a repeat of Friday Night Live season 5, episode 30 or 7. Crown Rights of the Redeemer and Press Cannon. Good. James. Derek says, well, free barbecue at Bottom's House, Perryville, on the 11th, or yeah. That is a cool story, Wes. So an hour, Sam Davis Home is about 30 miles away from GHQ. Mm-hmm. So definitely the next time you go up there, go, because I'm going to do that. Yes, and that's what I was. Jeff. I just showed that at the beginning of the store. The different glasses, the beer glass, the shot glasses, the rock glasses, and the beautiful challenge coin that you'll have. And again, to remind everybody, according to Chris and them, June 1st is what I have in message about getting registered for meals and stuff. And you can do that on their website, which is 131scv.org. So anyway, guys, we've been at it for about 45 minutes. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I said, we're going to call it an early night tonight. Remember that tomorrow night is Tennessee Tuesday. Josh and John Blankenship, excuse me, and Jason Boshears will be on. Should be a great episode. Wednesday, we have Look Around the Confederation, Look Around Florida with Sean McFall. And then we also have on Thursday, Look Around the Confederation with Moose. I'm surprised nobody asked about the wonderful SCV chat shirt that I'm wearing and where you can get those. If you want to know where you get those shirts, you can go to scvchat.com, go under the Support Us page, and it'll link you to our bonfire. Our bonfire has all of our shirts, and this shirt that I'm wearing here, I'm not going to turn around so y'all can't see it, but it is the South was right in 1861 because America was right in 1776 shirt. For right now, use the promo code 250 to get 15% off until July 5th. Again, go to scvchat.com. Go under the Support Us, and then you'll see it there. You can also find a link to our Patreon, which our Patreon folks keep our shows on the air. We appreciate them. We have different levels that you can join at. You can join at the $2.50 feed a moose a corn dog, $2.50 a month. You can feed a moose a corn dog. The $10 Real Chat Head, where you get a little sticker. The $30 merch tier, where you get things that Moose and I don't even get. And of course, the $80 if your camp division business would like to become a title sponsor of the show, you can. We'll plug you in the beginning of the episode and mention you by name throughout the episode as we can. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. And in the words of the late and great Harold Philpott, remember, no Fumar in the elevator and Redder Frop.